Thank you, Mr. Chair. And through you, I have a couple of questions for our staff. So I'm going to ask these as a multi-part question. I'll ask your indulgence. I'll try and be as quick as I can. This is specifically with regard to business case 8, and this is the allocation of funding for a staffing position for the East Lyons Community Centre. Colleagues, this position is not going to begin at the start of the fiscal year, April 1st. Simply put, the building is still not ready. So through you, Chair, I do understand that the allocation is needed going forward, but I wonder if our treasurer can comment on why the allocation is coming forward this year for an entire year rather than allocating it in a subsequent year's assessment growth, and just not use one-time funding to cover whatever portion we might need this year. So I'm just wondering if our treasurer can respond to that.
Ms. Barbone, if you would, please.
Yes, thank you. So with respect to assessment growth, when we have a need and we need to fund a full position, we always bring the full cost of the positions through so that there's one business case and then one decision rather than trying to cross years, because it gets very challenging from an allocation perspective to be doing half business cases and trying to prorate. So with respect to the full allocation, we know that at some point, and the hope is that it will open this year, and we will be needing the money fully next year to allocate a person. Of course, we still have a little bit of uncertainty with respect to the date, but the money needs to be in place to hire that individual and get them ready to go. So typically when there is surplus in those cases, we would follow the surplus deficit policy, that those amounts then would flow through according to policy. Alternatively, if there is, because this is particularly a unique situation and we know we're not going to need the full amount, typically if there's an allocation of excess assessment growth, we would follow the assessment growth policy where 50% goes to reducing the authorized debt and 50% to the capital infrastructure gap reserve fund. So in this case, because it is going to be a little bit later in the year, that is a process that could be utilized to provide that excess funds according to our policy and add to the $50,000 that is in excess of this year, so that we allocate the full amount and don't have to bring back the business case again next year, knowing that that person should be in place and will require the full budget.
Councillor Lewis.
Well, thank you for that answer, and I appreciate you filling us in on the surplus because there will be a surplus from this year's allocation. So I was going to ask about that, but you anticipated that and answered my question around that. I guess policy, surplus policy notwithstanding, Mr. Chair, through you, and I'm not sure whether this might be for Mr. Stafford or Ms. Smith, but considering the building is opening much later than the community was initially promised, what sort of programming startups can the community realistically expect that are going to be open to all, including those who might not have the ability to pay when we do open the doors? And is there any potential to use the surplus from the staffing funding that we know we're going to have this year as a one-time source of funding to offer some free programming at the start to the community to make up for the delays on this?
That was three muches, but I'm not sure if that would be Mr. Stafford. I might even ask if that, because there's a financial piece, if that goes back to Ms. Barbone. Mr. Stafford, do you want to start?
Hi, through the chair, it's Ms. Smith. I'm happy to answer that one and then turn it over to Annalisa, if that's okay.
Sure, I got two wrong, so go ahead, please. Go ahead.
Thank you. So staff have developed a plan at East Lyons to offer a wide variety of free drop-in programs, try-it programs, which is where folks can try a new activity they've never participated in before, and registered programs for all ages and abilities. It's really something for everyone to get them in the new center when it opens, to have fun and see what a great asset this is for the neighborhood. There'll be a combination of structured and unstructured program opportunities that will really allow Londoners to enjoy the new spaces, including the gym, the pool, the multi-purpose room, the art room, the kitchen, the activity studio. And all of these activities and opportunities will be supported through our current core operating budget.
Councillor Lewis.
Okay, thank you. So what I'm hearing, and I just want to be crystal clear on this from Ms. Smith through you, Chair, is that there are already funds allocated to provide that initial opening programming that will be available to all.
Ms. Smith.
Through the chair, that is correct.
Councillor Lewis.
Wonderful. Thank you. I'm glad to hear that.